Om Swastiastu. Hello students, welcome to another class of English in Architecture Department for Science and Technology Faculty of Ngurah Rai University. And today's topic is about the sequence of work in building construction. The topic is needed because after this you have to conduct the third task is to translate the building budget plan from BAHASA from Indonesian to English language. First of all, the introduction for sequence of building construction is like this. So after the construction drawing and other related documents have been completed and approved by the authority in the jurisdiction, the project will be awarded to a contractor by the client through a consultant. In this period, the construction of the proposed project will begin. The last week we have discussed about the architecture design process, and after the process is being conducted, and the next step is to the working or the construction phase. So the article is, the topic is to give information to you how the actual construction works and completed prior to architecture works. Here some of the checklists are actual site construction. The first is clearing of the ground. It's the first project, is the first work. To begin the actual construction, the clearing of the ground from where the location of the project will be built is the first thing to consider. So the first thing is to clear, to prepare the site for construction. In this activity, the construction personnel will to free construction site for any obstruction and debris that may obstruct and delay the construction. The construction site must be ready to accept the work. The temporary facilities such as engineer's office, direcsi kit, we can call it in Bahasa, labor's quarters or bedeng, material storage room, gudang, temporary water and electric supplies and other related facilities should also be constructed prior to start a work. A site perimeter fence should be also constructed during this period. The fence, marking of layout or site layout and stacking. The approved plan boundaries are marked in the ground first, and the ground inside and outside layout is clean. Later, the complete layout is marked on the ground with accurate dimension and orientation. This is when you can do bow plank work in Indonesia. This activity involves the setting of the reference point in a form of construction grid lines and marking of the grid level. This is performed to ensure that the grids have been set up on site according to approved plans. The reference point should be marked properly and should not be disturbed throughout the course of the construction. Grid line according to the approved drawing should be laid out prior to construction. Depending on the complexity and size of the project, the construction grids can be laid out through the use of theodolite or related surveying instrument. So this is when the constructor is marking or measuring the site to make it the point to do the foundation later and so on. So the marking of layout is very important. You can call the owner and call the the architect also to make sure that the point is precisely as they want to. A more traditional way of the layout of the construction grid is popular to use for small projects is through Stocking using batter boards and string. Batter boards are temporary wooden frame used to suspend the strings. This is boplang. The strings are the representation of the grid line at X and Y direction according to approved plan. This will serve as a guide throughout the construction, so it is important to fix a reference line in both directions to be used once the grid have been placed when needed in the construction. So this is when you are stacking and marking layout. And the next step is excavation. Generally, excavation is carried out for the construction of wall foundation. Excavation should be carried out as per the drawings defined length and width. Suitable machines are used to excavate the earth for the making of foundation. Once the layout of construction point and grid line have been completed, the excavation works will begin. The excavation depth depends on the recommendation by the soil investigation report. But it is safe to say that the minimum excavation level for the footing to rest should stick to 1 meter below the gate level or the 0 level. Excavation work is a massive activity, therefore a proper caution should be observed during the stage. In the event that the excavation needed is along with the neighbor's existing structure exceeding 1.2 meter from your proposed level, then showering support is recommended. Excavation is needed primarily for the foundation or for basement working and so on. So it's needed to dig the soil. The next step is foundation work. Foundation work consists many sub-work which are follow. First is compacting the ground. The excavation pits are trimmed and dressed as per requirement, and the bottom is compact using hand compactors. PCC. To form a solid basis on which the reinforcement can be tied and footing can be placed. Plain cement concrete of mix 1/4/8 or 1/3/6 is laid on the compacted soil in varying depth as required. Footing reinforcement. Reinforcement steel bar are tied together and placed on the PCC to form a skeleton in which the concrete is poured and the column rods are taken from them. Shuttering. To achieve proper shaped concrete, shuttering is done as per the dimension mentioned in the drawing. It is also done so that the concrete doesn't come in contact with the soil. Footing concrete. It is very necessary to check the level of foundation before concrete work. There are patches where excavated depth slightly exceeded and vice versa. Concrete is poured as per drawing specs. The next phase is backfilling and compacting. Once the substructure like foundation structure, including the solid block, has been installed completed, backfilling and compacting should take place. Backfilling and compacting should be done partially to make sure that the required degree of composting has been met until reaching the bottom of the tie beam level. Column casting, backcasting. Casting of column is made by fixing the shuttering framework and concrete is poured in the formworks. The shuttering is usually removed after 24 hours of casting and curing is done. The next step is construction of wall or setting up perimeter blocks. Walls are constructed using many materials such as brick, wooden, precast concrete, and many other. Before starting the wall construction, the base of wall is constructed first using concrete or sized stone masonry. The height of the wall depends upon the floor height, necessary opening are to given for doors, windows, and ventilators. Install solid blocks along the perimeter of the edge of the proposed project. This is to establish a boundary between the inside and outside edges of the project. It is also helpful when the difference of inside floor finish level to outside pavement or ground is significant. 2 coats of bitumen paint should also apply afterward. In some cases, perimeter blocks are optional, especially for areas where the soil characteristics are too firm. So this is the walls construction work. The next work is lintel. Masonry work of building is carried out in one go till roof. Openings for windows and doors are left during masonry work. Reinforced cement concrete beams are laid down on the top of opening, so those loads of structure above opening not directly come on the door frame. So they are different between lintel and the beam. As you can see, lintel is above the doors or above the windows and so on, and it creates a stabilized construction. The next step is roofing, especially for slab roofing. So roof slab of building is poured after completion of masonry works, and nowadays roofing is a reinforcement cement concrete slab. Slab thickness and reinforcement detail should be according to approved drawing. How thick it is and the detail of it should be considered in the drawing. Plastering is the next work. Formwork is removed after 14 days of slab pouring. Now plaster work will begin. Mortar for plaster work is generally of 1/3 or 1/4 is used. Thickness of plaster layer should not be more than 1.75 inch. Cure the surface about 7 days so that plaster gain proper strength. Generally, internal wall of building are covered with plaster layer and external walls with pointing. It is better plaster than external walls rather than pointing. Fixing of doors and windows. Traditionally, doors and windows of wood are used, but steel aluminum is also not a bad choice. In case of wooden doors and windows, frames are fixed in walls during masonry work. Panels are then fixed with hinges after plaster work. Steel and aluminum doors are fixed after completion of paint work. Fixing of electrical and plumbing works. Plumbing, the pipe should be done even before the masonry work. So the pipe work should be done before, but fixing the electrical and plumbing can be done after the masonry. The necessary electrical and plumbing works are carried out before the final finishing work, such as painting and tiles laying is done, so as to reduce the damage. So before the painting and before the tiles laying, you should do the electrical and plumbing works. The next step is tile laying. Majorly tiles are laid in the bathroom and kitchen area and other area, of course. First, the wall tiles are fixed after the floor tiles are fixed. For flooring works, granite, marble, tiles, epoxy are also used. So after the floor tiles are fixed, then you can go to the wall tiles. Painting. Painting consists of different sequences depending upon the type of finish required. 1 coat of primer and 2 coats of water-based paint is also done, or 2 coats of putty and 2 coats of painting is done for the smooth finish. It differs for outside and inside works. So it's different between the inside and outside works. The specification of the painting and how it's done. The last type is miscellaneous work. Other than all above mentioned work, there are other works that are carried as per the requirement of the consumer and design engineer. We can call it miscellaneous work, such as terrace waterproofing, landscaping, false ceiling, or installation of furniture. So that's all the works in the construction for building small houses, small building, and there are many terms, new terms that you can use to create your building budget plan. Please do your building budget plan, and you can email me for the next week. Thank you for listening. I'll see you again. Om Santi 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 Om.